Steve here with Alloyed RPG. In this video, we'll be teaching you how to build your character in just 5 minutes. Now, admittedly, it will take you longer to watch this video than it will to actually build your character. We'll be going step by step through this character sheet. On page 7 of the Core Essentials book, you'll see Anatomy of a Character Sheet, which is essentially this with step-by-step instructions, but that's what we'll be doing in this video. There are blank character sheets at the end of the Core Essentials book and also for free at alloydrpg.com. It is as a fillable PDF and also just as a regular download and print PDF. Starting in the upper left corner, you're going to see this box that has character and traits. This is where you're going to tell us a little bit about your character. It's also a good place to put the picture of your character. We have a video about how we do ours. But you're going to name them first. Of course, this one is Circumference of Pi. That's my guy. And then traits are just descriptions of what your character is all about. You know, are they a thief? Are they athletic? Are they smart? Just little descriptions about it. We'll talk about traits in another video. And I will say that this is one of the things that really sets Alloyed RPG apart. Because this character, you don't have to choose a class or anything like that. It doesn't lock you into any stats. So you can really literally be whatever you want to be in Alloyed RPG because none of that affects the stats. Moving down the left-hand side of the page, you'll come to a section that says Gear, Weapons, and Magic. We'll talk about each of those in their own separate videos, but this is basically where you're going to pick your stuff for your adventure. You'll notice there are only 10 slots. That's because in Alloyed RPG, you can only carry 10 things. You can carry a maximum of 2 weapons and a maximum of 2 pieces of protective gear. And you'll also see that on entry 1, we have staff or wand. That's because most people want to at least dabble with some magic stuff. And so we already wrote that for you. You can cross that out or you can circle which one or both you want to carry. And if you'll look across to the right, you'll see a section that says casts. That's to keep track of how many casts you've used for each of the magic. Below gear, you'll see a section called Magic Natural Ability. You won't need that starting out because it has to do with mastery, which we'll talk about in another video. But basically what happens is as you play the game, if you roll natural 20s, you gain mastery, gain enough of those, and you can convert one of your magic in your staff or wand into a natural ability. That's where you would put that. The notes section is just a scribble section for you to write down whatever it is that you want to keep track of. So whether it's the number of arrows that you've shot, or maybe some details about an NPC you encountered in a campaign, or magic item or something else that you picked up along the way, that's just for you to write down stuff for your own memory. The bottom of the page is where you'll actually find your stats. There are only 3 stats in Alloyed RPG: body, mind, and spirit. That's it. It is super simple. Each one of those can carry a maximum of 5 points. And to start with, a new character only gets 5 points that have to be divvied up in whole numbers between those 3. So for example, you could have 3 body and 2 spirit, or maybe you have 1 spirit, 1 mind, 3 body, or 1 body and 4 spirit, whatever you want to do, as long as they add up to 5 for a new character. Now, as you progress through the campaigns, as your character grows, obviously you're going to get more and more abilities. As you roll mastery, that's a whole other section that we'll talk about. Rolling natural 20s, that also adds to that. But that's essentially your stats. Next to body, mind, and spirit, you're going to see 2 things. You'll see attack and defense. That has to do with whether or not you're carrying weapons or protective gear. If you'll remember, you can only carry 2 weapons and 2 protective gear. So those are each maximum of 2 points. At the top of the page under the logo, you'll see it says Mastery with a track that goes from 1 to 3. This is where you're going to keep track of your mastery, which is basically when you roll a natural 20 during a hard action. Once the mastery reaches 3, you can do one of 2 things. You can either take one of your magic that's stored on your staff or wand and add it as a natural ability in that section that says Magic Natural Ability. Or you can add 1 point to one of your abilities at the bottom of the page. In other words, body, mind, or spirit. You can add +1 to one of those of your choosing. The right-hand side of the page is where we keep track of hit points. If you'll look at the lower right corner, you'll see a circle that says HP. That is where you're going to put your character's starting hit points for the campaign. Now, a brand new character to start will get anywhere from 10 to 14 hit points. The way we calculate that is 1d20 divided by 4 plus 9. So in other words, what you're going to do is roll a d20, take that number, divide that by 4, round it up, which gives you a potential of 5 points, and then you'll add 9 to it. So that will give you anywhere from 10 to 14 points for a starting character. Now, of course, as the character grows throughout the campaign, they're going to get more experience, they're going to get more hit points, they're going to kind of get more of everything. So that's pretty cool. Now, the actual hit point track, we think this is pretty cool. It works really well during the game. But to keep track of your hit points, you'll see this scale. And you can use pennies or tokens or whatever. In this particular example, you'll see that our character has 13 hit points. There is a penny on the 3 and a penny on the 10. You can move those around accordingly when you gain or lose hit points during the campaign. Then, if you'll notice at the top of the hit point track, and this is something that you won't need to know until way, way down the line, but we have a box that says HP aging out. That is because in Allied RPG, unlike most games, characters actually will age out and eventually die. So once a character reaches 100 hit points as their base level, instead of gaining hit points at the end of each campaign for experience, they actually start losing them. And eventually, your character phases out. So just another unique part of the game. That's pretty much all you need to know to build your character and start playing Allied RPG. Again, it really only takes about 5 minutes at the table, and that is really cool because it lets you play pickup games with people who have never even played this kind of game in their lives. It also makes it so that you don't have to worry about the composition of your party. So you don't have to worry about, well, do we have a rogue and a barbarian and a cleric? Anybody can be whoever they want to be, and it just doesn't matter because none of those stats get changed by your character. So hopefully that all made sense to you. Again, if it doesn't, all the material is online for free. It's also in the Core Essentials book, and you can download those PDFs for your character sheet at alliedrpg.com. Thanks again for watching, and may your dice always roll with advantage.